All right. So, last but not least, how goals saved me. And, they can save you too. So, I was kind of figuring out what I was going to do with my money, with my income tax money, right? And for my girlies who know, savings is a really big part of just figuring out everything that's going on for your finances as your glow up girls. All right, when you sit down, you want to figure everything out, you definitely want to start with your finances. So I had expense books, I've had budgeting people that I tried to reach out to. Budget with Mail, I got hooked on her for a while. I tried to really figure out some budgeting tools. I did spreadsheets, Excel. Nothing really worked. I just did a pen and paper and notebook for a while in order to just really feel like I wanted to focus on my budgeting skills. But what I have come to realize though is that nothing worked. I had to literally create my own sheet for money, for goals and budgeting. And that's what I did. And because I just am like, but I will, and what also really helped my budgeting is falling short. And I know this is so weird. Like, how the hell is being short for the things that you need a part of an accurate budget? But just kind of sort of bear with me for a minute so I can allow you to experience what that means and how that is going to save you in the long run. So, acknowledging that you're short on something brings you closer to the things that are unseen. That brings you closer to the spiritual forces. That brings you closer to those more humbling spirits. That brings you closer to those more divine moments, or closer to some of the more angelic angel numbers, or those type of moments. You're allowing yourself to experience those type of very type of, what's the word, divine type of energetic forces, because you depend less on yourself and more on those god like thought processes and energies, instead of putting that focus back self-centered. And that is a really good way to budget. I'm telling you now, if you really feel like things are kind of sort of like you did the best that you can, that's something that they really like. When you really feeling like, you've taken every opportunity to heart, you really left no stone unturned, you did the best that you could in a very sincere manner every day, day after day, consistently, and you feel short, even though you did all of those things, then you feel as though now some things are out of your control. Some things are about making you realize that those forces are there, and that was the only way to have that type of acknowledgement. Now, when you pay attention to those things, you'll say, thank you, not just for the monetary things, but thank you for allowing myself to now have this inner knowledge that I can turn to these type of things. And I ask that you allow myself to have more homage for those type of experiences. And because when you'll see that eventually, there's not going to be many other people that are going to help you. And I give you an example. I got into some things, and I had to kind of sort of see that this experience was really just about that type of energy. It wasn't really about nothing else at this point. No people, no guard, no what somebody else thought, a lawyer, like none of that. I mean, it appears, you know what I mean, that you have all these pieces and pulls, but when everything's stripped down, truth be told, at the end of the, like when you really kind of sort of hone in on what the goal is, all of that other stuff is just kind of sort of like fillers. You know how you do the Botox and the lip injections and the face and the lipo and the cut and whatever else. It's just all noise. But the real focus, that piece is that connection between your spirit. That is something that you have to learn and act like, okay, thank you for this experience, because that taught me that this is available to the thoughts that I need. And when I have that, I feel as though that's the closest that I ever been to achieving a goal, even though this one is here and has this advice, or this is here. All of that, you see, that is where the most of your knowledge comes from. And that in and of itself is a way to kind of figure out how you can save yourself instead of going to these other pieces for that particular type of energy. And so I decided that by allowing myself to not get wrapped up in having those moments where I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, I just totally blew out all of this stuff. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, this year, I know that I usually put up 3 to 6 months of expenses, especially for like my car note and things like that. So I'll have that in the bank account, especially around income tax season for the next 3 to 6 months. So I just pull from there and I just pay it continuously. But that was last year. This year, I was really kind of sort of very upset. I was very upset. Oh my God, it was just so much drama. You know what I mean? I had relatives who had weird friends that was just constantly putting stuff in their ears, who was making it harder for me and harder for my life and harder for, you know what I mean, my innocence and my thoughts and my thinking patterns and my life, you know what I mean, just in general. And that's why I kept saying, like, if y'all was really trying to go head on and do all of these things, whatever, that's what you wanted anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't saying it to be a bitch, like a hoe. I'm just saying that to say, like, that's a boss bitch. Like, I know what you want, for real, for real. You want to take something to that extent, and I know it's you. So, and then I heard a female how they can get mad about something else. We just don't want you to know. And it's like, well, you can feel that way, but is that more so harming me or you? You. Because that's what hoes do. Hoes don't want somebody else to succeed because they want to succeed. So they want to succeed, but they are so adamant about doing it that if they perceive that somebody else is too, they'll be unable to say congratulatory anything to this person because they so centered on what it is that they're thinking about. That to me is a hoe. That can really hinder the things that you are trying to accomplish because you refuse to think about them. That's something where I feel is in harmony with your losses, though. That's why I feel like a hoe deserves the drama that they attract to themselves. People think I'm playing, but when I say that things are reaping and sowing, that's real. So now all of a sudden you see them all the time. They be on their deathbed. Oh, I'm so sorry. Or they will try to make things right because they about to die, and you have to go and face your consequences with that. As a hoe, you're more willing to be sent to a more suffrage place than the boss bitch. And that's how you can realize that goals will save you from being a hoe. Focusing and creating puts you into a spirit of a boss bitch. Being a boss bitch or a boss girl, a boss babe, a boss girlie, a boss woman allows you to manifest the things that you want that helps other people because it has helped you. Okay. People think that I just create these videos just as like a content creator. Like, I create these videos with messages that really resonates with where I am as we speak. And because I know that it won't be long before somebody else is too, and they'll have the resources there, like, oh wow, this person can understand, this person gets it, oh wow, okay, cool, let me share this with so and so, maybe they'll get something out of it that they needed that I didn't need or that I didn't get, and then they'll share it with me, and then I'll have their understanding too, so now it's been multiplied. Okay. So anyway, I hope that helps you understand that having goals will save you because they have saved me as well. So there's that. I did not do any 3 to 6 month savings or anything out of my income tax this year. That's the same way that I did last year. And this year, it was more so about building a certain type of portfolio. And that was a more of a financial goal than having anything else going on in second place. I really did not care about my car. I really thought that, if God wanted me to have it, then I'll keep it. But I was getting sick of people kind of sort of dogging it out, taking it any old kind of where it was breaking down. Like, I was just personally like, whatever, you can have a car. Like, I'd rather just go ahead on and work from home and just like, resign and quit. And I may not even need the damn car. You know what I mean? Like, for real, for real. I can just possibly, just Uber or whatever else, or they can take the car and I can just work from home and then I'll just get a new car. Like, you know what I mean? That's even better than the one that I have now. And finally, be able to maybe just save up, work from home for a while and just pay it outright without a car note. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more than one way to look at things. So I did not want to just hinder myself to only one way of thinking. And I decided to do that by kind of sort of understanding that, yes, I did want to keep my vehicle. I did want to pay it off and just drive it without a car note for a little while and kind of maybe give it to my daughter or something like that. And I'm not saying that's not even still something that's feasible or possible. But again, there's so many options in this world. We just never know what's certain to happen from next day to the following next 24 to 48 hours. Everything is always such a mystery. So and I know people be like, ain't no mystery, ain't no mystery, ain't no mystery. But those are just more so for the hoes. The hoes are attracted to men and women who think like that. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. For the more enlightened intellectual lady, we know that God is full of mysteries. We know that you learn some, there's plenty more that you don't know. Okay, so anybody else who feels that way, and I have relatives who think like the hoes. They think they ain't no mystery. You know what I mean? And that's just what they do. And is there a type of barrier though through communication between the hoes and our family who think like that and the boss bitches who think as though there's always something else to learn? That's why there's constant mystery. Yeah, there's definitely moments where there's clashes. There's definitely moments where we kind of sort of avoid. And am I saying that that's a good thing? No, of course not. You know what I mean? I'm not going to ever really say that somebody feeling like they know it all is going to be something that is a positive, because it reminds us of leeching again off of something. We know that as hard as it takes to get the things that we want, how somebody else will come over here and just take something else off our plate, like a leech. Come on now, like that's a hoe. A boss bitch knows, like, oh, I didn't work hard for this fool. You gonna have to go ahead home, come up with something else that's a little tougher than that in order to get this up over here. So you gotta just be mindful of the way that you choose to ride the wave, because one way is gonna break your back. One way is gonna uplift you to the heaven.